What is up, YouTube? This is Cody on the Real Sports Talk, bringing you the Daytona 500 preview. And before we jump into that, I just want to kind of run through Speed Weeks, give you a recap of that, and what we can learn from those races and apply to the Daytona 500 on Sunday. So John King won the truck race. It was his first win, I think, in 8 starts, and he kind of shoved Johnny Sauter out of the way, but it was just a product of another car or another truck hitting him from behind, and he couldn't really do much about it, and he hooked Johnny Sauter into the wall. It was not intentional, and he won under yellow flag conditions after a wreck that sent Joey Coulter into the catch fence. Everyone was okay. Things in the truck series that we saw first of last night: no more Kevin Harvick race team. KHI, Kevin Harvick Incorporated, that is now transferred to Richard Childress Racing. Brad Keselowski has his own truck team this year. Him and Parker Kligerman were driving the 2 trucks in that team. I don't know what the plans are for the rest of the season. So it was I think it was the 29 and the 19, but I'm not positive on that. And I really expect the season, the veterans, to just really play a huge part, and won a lot of races. Veterans being like Johnny Sauter and Ron Hornaday and Todd Bodine and Brendan Gaughan, guys like that. And also Ty Dillon's coming into the series, the other grandson of Richard Childress. He moved into Austin Dillon's ride, who moved on to the Nationwide Series after winning the championship in the Camping World Truck Series. So that's some stuff to look out for this season. And also in the Truck Series race, some things we saw were the draft is back, the pack drafting. We saw some trucks trying to do the tandem. It seemed pretty unstable with the trucks, but they tried to do it anyway, and they just kept on pushing, and obviously it led to wrecks because there were 3 green-white checkers, and on the 3rd one, John King won the race. So with that in mind, moving forward to the Nationwide Series race, I should say, Danica Patrick took the pole. I'm sure a lot of you have heard that by now. Well, obviously you did if you saw the race, but honestly, it didn't impress me that much, just because she's in great equipment at JR Motorsports, and on a track like a super speedway, it's not so much driving talent as much as it is horsepower and good speed out on the track, and that doesn't really translate necessarily to the race. It's more how your car handles in the pack and how you can negotiate the draft, which she did decent. She led some laps, but she was taken out by a wreck, as she was in the Gatorade duels, neither of which were her fault. In this race, she was taken out by her teammate, and that was an unfortunate thing. She was on the back of someone, and the pack was just not moving forward, and the teammate decided to bump draft her, and that just didn't work out. She spun out and hit the wall. And a lot of the things with Danica Patrick these last couple seasons, I guess, or last season or so, has not been of her accord, all her misfortunes. I mean, she has progressed, we've seen it. I remember last year at Daytona, she didn't even know how to do the 2-car tandem, and she was asking the crew chief how to do it during the race. That amazed me at the time, that she didn't know how to do that, considering the amount of practice time they have for these events. But she's made progress, and she's moving forward with that. And she's going to be a force to reckon with a lot of positions here in the Nationwide Series races that are upcoming in this season. And it ended with a caution, like the Truck Series race. This race had Kurt Busch and Kyle Busch drafting together, the 2 brothers who are going to be driving both for Kyle Busch's new race team in the Nationwide Series, and Monster is sponsoring their car, and Kurt and Kyle, I think, are going to make a good combo, but it's going to be interesting to see how they cooperate with each other. And just at the end of the race, it was a product of restrictor plate racing. Kurt Busch and Kyle Busch got separated from their tandem on the bottom to middle side of the track, and Joey Logano was coming with his tandem, and he was alongside Kurt, and I don't know if Kurt didn't know that Tony Stewart and Elliott Sadler were right behind, or right to the top side of Joey Logano, but he tried to pinch him into the wall. Or not, he didn't try to pinch him into the wall, but he tried to force him up the track a little bit, maybe break up the tandem, and it ended up being a huge wreck. And the guy, James Buescher, who was running in 11th entering Turn 3, ends up winning the race out of Turn 4 because the whole pack gets slowed down or caught up by the wreck in some way, shape, or form. So that's his first nationwide win, and As I said, it was a combination of the tandem and pack racing, and the packs are they're not faster, but the tandems are slower with the changes NASCAR has made and with this new fuel injection and just everything that's contributed to this. NASCAR has made some good changes, brought back the pack racing. That's what the fans want. That's what they got. It was a cooler day in Daytona than it was yesterday. I think it was in the 60s today. Not that it was yesterday, but during the duels I think it was warmer. So that's going to help with the overheating issues that some had in the qualifying races and in the shootout for the 500. And also, I think it's going to be the same tomorrow, but because there's going to be cooler temperatures, so that's going to help along with the changes NASCAR has made to help cool these cars since the qualifying Gatorade duels on Thursday. It's really going to be a fun race to watch with this combination. It's more exciting than the tandem drafts, that's for sure, in my opinion, and I think that this is going to be much better for the fans. The fans are really responding to it well. The drivers are really liking that they can handle their own destiny a little more with these finishes, and I think that's ultimately a good thing if everyone likes it. It's not a matter of, they might be going a little slower, but if everyone's enjoying it and the drivers feel comfortable with it, we can press forward with it. Well, tomorrow though, it's going to be cooler, but there's a chance of rain until Wednesday, so hopefully we'll get the race in. I know NASCAR doesn't want to send fans home from the Daytona 500 because of work or anything like that, and they don't want to postpone this race, but if it has to be done, it has to be done. But they also have lights at Daytona, so we could be seeing a nighttime Daytona 500 if it rains tomorrow. It was supposed to rain today for the nationwide race, but it held off and they were able to get the whole race in. So hopefully that's the case tomorrow, and we can get the whole 500 in the allotted time. Or not the allotted, at the assigned time that it's supposed to get going. I think, opposite of the Truck Series, this is really going to be a series with newcomers, aside from Elliott Sadler, who I think is going to actually end up winning the championship this season. You got Danica Patrick running full-time, you got Justin Allgaier for Turner Motorsports, Trevor Bayne, after coming back, it's going to be interesting to see how he does running for the points championship this year, after having that spider bite last year that sidelined him for a large portion of the season. And also Ricky Stenhouse, the championship winner from last year, is going to be a force to be reckoned with again. And then Austin Dillon coming in from the Truck Series off his championship there. He's going to be driving the 3 car, the black number 3, in the Nationwide Series. We're going to see that going around the track. So that's going to be something we'll see how the fans react to that, and that'll be something I think a lot of Dale Earnhardt fans will appreciate. And it's nice to see that 3 car back on the track. Alright, let's move forward to the Cup Series now in the Daytona 500 preview. Tony Stewart, Matt Kenseth won the dual races on Thursday, so they're going to be position 3 and 4, on Sunday for the Daytona 500. And Carl Edwards and Greg Biffle are going to be on the front row. Edwards is on the pole, so we'll see. The first few laps are going to be really decided by who decides the lineup with Kenseth and who will be pushed right away, and that person will lead some laps early, but that's not going to play a huge role in the end, definitely. Some guys that you'd expect to see in there that you're not going to see because they didn't make it in the race, in the Gatorade duels, are Michael Waltrip, who wrecked in the dual race, and Kenny Wallace and Mike Wallace, the 2 brothers, did not make the race. And like the Nationwide Series race, we're going to see a combination of the pack and drafting styles, and we're going to see good racing. It's going to be fun to watch, but it's going to be tandem at the end. Even if you got that straight car that can keep up with the tandem's going to be able to prevail because that straight car is going to lose a little bit of the draft at some point while the tandem's just tucked up beneath one another. So some guys to look out for, though, as we move forward to tomorrow that we might not expect, are Trevor Bayne, who won it last year, obviously, Elliott Sadler, who's driving the 4th Richard Childress car, that number 33. You got Regan Smith, a win was taken away from him a couple of years ago, and also Eric Almirola, who is getting an opportunity in that Richard Petty Motorsports number 43. I've seen him run well in the Nationwide Series races here, and I think that he has a shot to win if he gets paired up with the right person. And that's really the case with anyone. And that's another thing. With David Gilliland, he's a guy that's going to be... He's worked with Tony Stewart in the past. Stewart has liked the way he's drafted. He knows the lines. He knows how to hit the spots. He knows it all. about these super speedways. So I wouldn't be surprised to see him there contending for the win at the end of this race. I mean, the main issue will be that overheating then. That's going to be the main issue in this Daytona 500. If guys can keep their cars cool, take care of their equipment, don't lose horsepower, just take care of their equipment for like the first 185 laps, and then just go for it at the end. Those are the guys that are going to be able to contend. They're going to have to miss the big wrecks, and some, like Jeff Gordon, sometimes hang out at the back and just go when it's go time, and other guys try to stay in front of the wreck the whole race, and that's sometimes how the big wreck happens, guys trying to get to the front of the pack. So, another thing we're looking for is Tony Stewart finally getting his Daytona 500 win. He's had 13 tries. This is going to be his 14th try, and we'll see if we can see a little magic with his car number being 14, if he can win on his 14th try. Comparisons are starting to be drawn to him and Dale Earnhardt because of how long it took him to win the 500. But Stewart has won 17 races at the Daytona International Speedway in NASCAR, but he's never won the Daytona 500. So he knows how to get it done at the track. He just can't get it done in the big show for whatever reason. Well, looking forward to the end of the season. Oh, I guess I'll give you my winner first. I actually think Kurt Busch will win this race in the James Finch car. He'll get a win for James Finch, and I believe that'll be his first Daytona 500 if he wins. And he'll be able to basically just show everyone, all the naysayers and everyone, that he is here and he is going to compete this season, even if it is James Finch thinks that he can make that car points eligible, or not points eligible, he can compete for the championship in that car. He's got a championship caliber driver in Kurt Busch, and I think Kurt Busch is really motivated to get things done with that race team. I think it's going to show at the Daytona 500 tomorrow. Some other guys looking forward to the season, though. I think some guys to look out for in the championship hunt are definitely Kevin Harvick. He's focusing on this championship. He dropped his race teams. He's no longer an owner. And Kyle Busch, he's a guy that's just probably the most talented driver on the circuit. So I'd look out for him as we move forward in this racing season. And two guys that I see that could be like Tony Stewart's of last year, where they squeak into the chase and then they possibly could really get going, are guys with new crew chiefs. One of them is actually Tony Stewart's old crew chief, Denny Hamlin and Darian Grubb. And Casey Kane doesn't have a new crew chief, but he's with Hendrick Motorsports in that new team. So it might take them a while to get going, but once they do get going, they have good equipment in Joe Gibbs Racing and Hendrick Motorsports. They'll be guys to look out for as we move forward in the season. So we might not see things from them early, but late, look out for that 5 car and that 11 car. Well, the Daytona 500 tomorrow. We're going to see the Great American Race. It's going to be a great show. 43 cars, packing it in. Look out for some underdogs to win. Hopefully we can have another Trevor Bayne-like winner, and it'll be fun to watch.